What's going on, YouTube? This is The Last Musketeer, and welcome to part 3 of Fire Emblem Heroes Free to Play. Is it worth it? So we're picking up right where we left off in the last one. This is Book 2, Chapter 2, and I believe the first stage on it. I want to show you this because I need you to know just what my account was at the start of it, and what it ended up with at the end of it. Now, as you'll see on the sides here, instead of just having the plain like gray colored banners, I also have the teams that I generally use while I'm going through these. The first one with Byleth, Freya, Hilda, and Ninian is basically the one that I use for a lot of content because it's a fairly strong team. I mean, it's not the best, but they do a good job. Ninian has dance, so she's able to give people an extra turn. I'm usually able to complete a bunch of the content pretty quickly, so I use them a lot for that. The other one with Muspel, Leaf, Joshua, and Thrasir is one that I'm working up. I do have to say that I do really like Muspel's animations. The particle effects around his character does have a really nice design. There's some more that I can go into a little bit later because I do think, you know, this is a Nintendo-based game, and since Fire Emblem is a beloved game by many, they do a really good job of really fleshing out the characters and giving them some good artwork. It's nothing flashy a lot of the times. I guess some of your stronger heroes, maybe your like mythic based ones, are going to be a little flashier than others, but I would say for the most part they do a really good job of just making it blend in to the world itself, because not everything's going to be crazy powerful, so you got to have the human-esque characters, make everything feel a little more grounded in that sense. But we're doing the actual summons. I'm doing the Thrasir banner, and I know you see her on the bottom right side, so you know I get her. But this will kind of show you what the summoning journey is like. So I do a one group of 5. Every time I get 20, sometimes I'll save them as well. But usually when I get 20, I'll go in and do a summon, because you can summon all 5 of the orbs there if you do that. Now, I don't know if that's the best option. I would imagine it probably is, because it does save you overall a little bit of the orb usages compared to just doing one at a time, because I think if you do the first one, it's always 5. Now, I could be wrong on that, but it seems to always start out at 5. The next 3 pulls will cost 4, and the last one will cost 3, for a total of 20. So that seems to be the best option for that. And I do have to say that the rates for the actual 5-star heroes are pretty good. If you're not getting them in a pull, the rates are going up as you do it. I don't know how many it takes to get to a higher percentage exactly, but I know when I do 5 pulls, it seems to go up 1% each time. Now, that doesn't seem crazy in any sense, but starting out at 5%, you're basically, every 4 times that you do a 5 pull, you're basically going to get a 5-star from that percentage if you're going off averages. And that might sound crazy, but honestly, the game gives you so many summons, especially early on, and I'm sure later on they do a bunch of events and stuff that's going to allow them as well, because as I'm looking through some of the event stages, and I don't really show them in this, I did quite a few of them to earn some extra orbs and some other pieces of level up resources that I actually needed, but as you're going up in stages, the first one might start at 1, the next one 2, 3, and as you're getting into like the lunatic stages, that's the difficulty anyway, it'll be like 4 orbs for completion. Yeah, that one's going to be extremely hard, and it's going to be people that have insane teams and have a really good idea of how to work the strategies into their gameplay, but that is quite a bit to offer for one stage clear. So every time these events are coming through, if you're clearing all of them, you're probably getting a ton of actual orbs to use. So I will say that they are fairly generous when it comes to that. Now, I'm not an in-game player. Obviously, this is the second week of the series, so I can't attest to all of it. Someone that does pull or does play this for a long time, and you're an in-game, if you would be so kind in the comments, just tell me, you know, how often you pull on a banner, how often you secure the pick, how often do you go to the 40 pulls to go and pick a hero. These are all things that I'd really like to know, so if anybody could give me details on that, I would very much appreciate it. But I want to direct your attention to the hero on the left side highlighted in red. That is Tiki, a variant of Tiki. The same one that bullied me in the entire last week's videos when I was trying to do the low rarity champ. She's the main reason that I swapped to using 5 stars for the series. So, getting my revenge in that was probably the greatest feeling. I made sure to celebrate with that. It felt good. So basically now everything that I'm running into, all the challenges I'm doing, while I'm doing it with my 5 stars, has been fairly easy. So I'm actually able to do a 5 in a row and talk about the rewards for a little bit, because resources in this game seem to be, at this point, abundant. I do get a lot. Somebody did tell me in the comments, they wrote me a good message about being sure to save my resources and spend them wisely, because while they do seem abundant, it's really, you got to make sure that you have all you need to spend on a really strong team early to get something really good. Otherwise, you're going to be spreading them a bit too much and possibly risking not having something strong enough fast enough for some of this harder content. So while it does look like they're giving you a bunch, you still have to be very careful with what you're doing. But the last one, when you win 5 out of 5, you get a summon ticket for a 4 star. Now that may not seem like the greatest thing ever because you have 5 stars available to you, but duping heroes does give them extra stats. So if you take one copy and put it into another copy, your stronger one, it's going to give them extra SP and various other stats, I guess, as you're going through. So that kind of brings into where the whaling aspect of this game would actually go through. Other than the resources, it's being able to summon a lot on a specific banner. And so if I pulled, let's say Thrasir for instance, if I was able to pull on that banner a ton and actually get multiple copies of Thrasir, I could throw them all into each other and make one extremely strong copy, which is going to be, you know, obviously a leg up compared to everything else. Now, the big thing is that there is, according to the comment section under the last video, a lot of power creep in this game. So when you are pulling, if you're saving your orbs for newer banners, featured heroes, that sort of thing, is probably going to be better overall for your account. Now, I do recommend, of course, looking up guides or maybe some meta unit guides so that you can kind of figure out what you want to save for, because that's going to give you ultimately a better shot at progressing a lot faster. So me personally, I do these series in a raw sense where I'm just doing blind, no walkthroughs, no meta guides, nothing. I'm going off what I see and talking about what I like, what I don't like. So if you do follow this as like whether or not you want to actually get into this game, be sure to use guides, because it's going to help you ultimately, especially in a game that's been out for this long. There's too much going on for you to try to wrap your hand around it that quickly. But showing you here, as you can see, I did some, it wants you to get a KO with certain heroes, and it's the ones they offer there. So if you're doing that, you're getting free orbs from that as well. And plus it's giving, like, I think it was giving feathers and some other things with that, maybe dragon flowers. There's a lot of good resource rewards in this game. Honestly, I think, you know, I'm doing a decent amount of content, but I'm spreading it out between a lot of different things. I'll run out of stamina, and then I'm gone. You know, I can only do a certain amount of time per day, so, you know, if I had unlimited time, I would be a lot farther in the game so far. But just with what I've done, I've been able to pull on basically whatever banner that I want to pull on. Now, some of them I don't decide to actually finish them off. I do a few runs on them, and don't get the hero I want in specifics, but I might get like a couple of different 5 stars that are featured on there. And so, you know, I'll run with that and then just leave it, because I don't want to pull too much on one specific thing. But when it comes to the mythic or legendaries, you can guarantee that I'm going to try to pull as much as I possibly can, or at least till I can kind of guarantee that hero in specifics. But we are on the final chapter of Book 2. This is Stage 5, so the final one. And really, it seems like it would be a lot harder than it actually is, but the enemies, I think, scale up to 30 for the regular, normal difficulty. Hard and Lunatic's going to be different. It's going to take a lot more strategy. I can basically auto-play through all of normal with this team right here, and I don't even think this team is even that well set up. It's just a team that I've liked, and I've used them since early on because I got them early on. Byleth I really like. Freya, obviously, I love that hero. Hilda is pretty good as well. She seems to be fairly hard to deal with. A lot of times I'll just throw her into the middle of a pack of like 4 enemies, and she'll one at a time on their turn just take all of them out, and it's very enjoyable to watch. But with that stage done, that is book 2 out of the way. We are now moving on to book 3, and I actually do chapter 1, stage 5, just so I can get another free 5-star. And I love the artwork on this one as well. It's simplistic, and that is where the beauty comes from, because you don't have to go all out with some crazy pixels, crazy anything to make really good art. And I always think that Nintendo does a good job with their artists of making everything feel that much more special with just simplicity. Now, I'm slowing this summon down in particular because I want to show you what I ended up pulling on this one, and it is relevant to showing why I was pulling on that banner. But I did on the first one get another one of those mystery characters where it starts out as 4 and it turns into a 5. So there's already one 5-star out of this pull. And I will say, when I'm doing these pulls, I'm actually going in a somewhat specific order. The reason being, whatever featured is on the banner that I'm currently pulling, I try to save that element for last. So in this case, this is the Thrasir banner. She is a Earth Elemental, and so I decided to go with the green ones last. And does that do anything in reality? Probably not. But for my own sake, I do enjoy doing it in that specific order. The funny thing is, though, in this case, it did work, because Thrasir is actually the last one that I pull here. And I should have, you know, in the case that it was a chance of being Thrasir, I should have waited and should have shown you exactly what it looks like when you're pulling a 5-star champ, just from the aspect of the summoning screen, so that you can kind of see the change in art, or the change in the beam of light that comes up, so you can know what you're looking out for when you're doing it. Now, I did want to show, this is the Ether Raids, and I think this is probably like more of your in-game style gear. Obviously, it tells you to get to a rank of 12 recommended to have heroes strong enough to compete with other people. I think I was 11 at this point, and it's kind of weird in that sense as well, because the way you're leveling up is you're just doing these specific missions, and I don't think any of the missions are really that hard. Potentially one of them was beat something on Lunatic difficulty, and actually was a pretty easy fight, if I remember correctly. So it wasn't that hard to actually get to 11 or 12 or whatever I ended on, and they do give you really good rewards through them. So if you do complete them, of course, you're going to get some nice stuff out of it by the end of it. But I do think it's kind of a cool setup where you've got all these different buildings. You can lay down these traps. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't put out just in the actual fighting itself, but you'll have buildings, defensive buildings, one that does damage when they get to a certain point. It's really cool, and you're fighting through a bunch of different people. But also here, I have Ninian and Freya as support buddies, so they leveled up to level B. The more you use them together, the higher it grows, and I think they give each other better stats, so it's really cool. Or maybe it's one in specific, it's better stats, whichever one you want, which in this case would be Freya. But as you can see here, we're just doing another one of these fights, and honestly, the people that I'm fighting right now are not very strong. They can do a little bit of damage back to me, which means they are probably a little around my level, a little close, maybe around level 30, something like that. So they're able to fight back a little bit, but we got to 124,000 rank, which is obviously pretty far behind. That's going to take some time to run through and figure out, and I don't know exactly when it'll be when I start running into some really, really hard people. But for the main story, we got to book 3, chapter 8, and that doesn't seem like a crazy climb. But with all the other stuff that I did, the extras, the special maps, the events that I was running, and I can show you here, you get 2 orbs for that clear, 3, and then 4, and I would imagine for the last one, probably 5, though I can't actually click on it. So above Lunatic is actually Infernal and Abyssal difficulty. I can only imagine just how hard Abyssal is, because Lunatic for me right now sometimes is a little rough, other times, depending on what counters I have, it's not that bad. But the event tab, I really need to look a little bit more into, because I think it has some good options, it has some good rewards. There's just so much you can do during the day that it takes a good amount of time. So make sure you have a nice amount of time put into being able to play this game, because otherwise you're going to have a bit of a struggle trying to do everything. My teams, for the most part, now in the regards of teams, they haven't really changed. Like I said, I've got some levels on some people. The ones on the right side of the screen you see here, Muspel, Leaf, Joshua, and Thrasir have all got levels since I have gotten them. But that's basically all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, anything in the comments you want me to clarify, anything you want me to go over in specifics in these videos, let me know. You know, I'm always open for comments, criticism, whatever it is. Don't be shy to let me know, and there's nothing I can do to make my videos better if I don't know exactly what people want to see. So anything you could do would help me tremendously. Also, I do apologize if my voice sounds a little weird. My nose is all stuffed up. My allergies have been horrible this time of year, so I'm suffering a bit. But anyway, guys, this has been The Last Musketeer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.